Honorable Speaker. Because of time, I'll ask two questions. Honorable Mvuyra, you were governor in Kwale, and then you were a cabinet secretary. For those of us in Parliament, I think a lot of us, we feel that you governors who came to the central government still believe you are managers in counties as opposed to workers in the executive. Maybe I want you to really comment on that. My first question is on, because of time, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, proceed.
Okay. It is on the blue economy and mining. It is estimated that this is $1 billion industry if properly looked at, or a lot of effort is put into it in mining, in the blue economy of fishing. But at the moment, we are only able to raise even less than 1% of the GDP. Is it that we are underinvesting, particularly in that ministry, or we do not have the necessary human resource? Or maybe because we don't know that that particular industrial resource exists, particularly in excavation of minerals, in the blue economy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
There are 5 questions. Murugara, Owen, Robert, Mole, and Rasso.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to begin with the 2 questions that have been posed by Honorable Rasso. It is true I served as governor for 10 years in Kwale County and transited to BCS. So I want to confirm that I don't think I'm in the county. I hold the national executive in high esteem, and I act within the mandate at the national level. So, and I want to speak also for some of my colleagues who have served together in cabinet.
Speak for yourself.
Because he said, you governors. You know, I want to confirm that that transition has happened, and it is now a national responsibility.
In any case, it was a comment. It was not a question.
Oh, I thought it was a
questions.
It was a question.
Yes.
The other thing about now the multi-billion sector in mining and blue economy, it is true it is a multi-billion sector. However, it is not a sector you go in and you get the multi-billion. You have to invest. And the first investment, for example, in mining is you have to invest in data. If you expect to reap revenues, then you need, first of all, to invest in data. And that is why it is critical to mention to this House that exploration going forward, government should invest a lot in exploration. So that when you now have discovered coltan, the government is the one saying we have coltan, it has this economic value. Then now you move to investment. But when you have minerals as part of occurrences, you cannot reap the billions. And I give you an example, Mheshimiwa. The little actions that we took in the ministry to just reform licensing and the basic data. Right now, the investments in mining this year will be 221 billion. The investments I mentioned earlier, There's one in Kajiado, clinkerization, 60 billion. So if you combine, you get 221. But it is a sector you have to invest first. Invest in licensing, invest in mapping, because you don't expect an investor to come and do prospecting. Then the government is the one reaping the billions. You need to put some money for that.
On a point of order, Speaker.
Secondly,
On a point of order, Speaker, just
Yes.
on that point.
yeah.
Because, Honorable Speaker, some of us have been here for some time. And I believe that's why probably Honorable Rasso is asking that question. Because data is available, CS. We spent not less than, if I remember, not less than 9 or 11 billion facilitating the National Intelligence Service to do a geophysical survey of all our mineral deposits. Are you then telling the country that this data is not available to the government or to the ministry? I know that was in the last regime, but government operates in perpetuity. And therefore, if that data, and we spend public resources on it, and I say that because I was the chairman of the Budget and Appropriations Committee when we allocated the first 5 billion shillings for that geophysical survey. That money was under the Ministry of Mining. It was moved to the National Intelligence Service with the justification or pretext that it was very sensitive data. Are you telling us now that that data that we were told was sensitive is not available at the ministry or with government? It disappeared with the other regime.
Okay.
And could that be the reason why there are people who settled on mineral deposits somewhere in, you know where?
I may not answer.
In Transmara.
I may not answer on the settlements, Mr. Speaker. I may not answer the settlements. But what I want to say is that that geo survey gave us what we call mineral occurrences, and there are 970 across the country. Mineral occurrences are indications. Like now, if you fly the plane in Taraka, for example, they will show you, some basic information on iron ore, on lithium, and something like that. Once you do the occurrences, you need to come back and do a process we call ground truthing. Ground truthing now is the actual drilling of saying that in this area there are some minerals, coltan in Nachola, for example, in Samburu. Then ground truthing, you go back and now reconfirm. And now ascertain, is this of economic value or is something that is just for superficial? So that is the process that requires another investment. The good thing is that before I left, we have done 24 counties, and I think the technical team is reviewing data. So once you have that information, that is specific. You can now tell an investor, in Kenya, we have coltan in Darawe, in Alale, in West Pokot, of this value. Now that is the kind of information, Mheshimiwa, that we need to invest in. The second thing, the question also had blue economy. It is the same way with blue economy also. It is multi-billion, but it is not but multi-billion on arrival. It is multi-billion on your initial investment. For example, if you go to the Indian Ocean, there's a process that has to be done. You need to do stock taking, stock taking of the fish in the Indian Ocean, so that when you are negotiating also with investors, have an idea of what is there. The Indian Ocean and Lake Victoria are highly occupied also by settlements, especially Indian Ocean, you have beaches and whatever. You need also to do marine spatial plan so that you can identify areas where you can put small pots. You can identify areas where you can put different investments. That is an investment you need to put initially before you begin now to reap the multi-billion. But I want to confirm that as a country, we are now on the right trajectory. That will be achieved with time.